Hi, I'm Nicole Laino. I'm a mindset and business coach. Catch me on this week's episode of The Jesse T Show.
Nicole Laino, welcome to the Jesse T Show.
I am so excited to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
It's a long time coming, and when we connected, we kind of knew right away that we wanted to have a conversation together and do a little journeying together in life and potentially in business, and just kind of seeing where that leads us. And so, I wanted to hear a little bit more about who you are and what you do, and share that with a few people that haven't heard it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and this is the best part about this business and what we get to do. We get to meet these amazing people and have these great conversations. And so, my name is Nicole Laino. I'm a mindset, and a business coach. And what I really think, we talk about story. I have one of those stories that sort of winds and turns, but I think it had to get me to exactly where I am right now. So one of the things that, and the way that I tell it, the reason that I tell it is because I want people to know that if you are on a windy journey, if it doesn't feel like you are going in a straight line from point A to point B, that's not just okay. Just it's your journey, and it's how you are meant to travel in this life. So for me, it started where I was a creative. I was an actor as a kid. I was a performer. That was where I got my energy from. And when I got older and I tried to play the game of being an actor for business and the business and show business, I didn't really know how to navigate it. It was strange. I did not naturally fall into it, so I ran out of money like actors do. And so I was like early 20s. I'm in New York and I'm trying to make it work. And you get a job here, you get a job there, and you're just like, how do you do this? How do you make this work? And so I got a temp gig, and I was temping, and I would do that, here and there, because I call myself a type A hippie. I am very organized. I'm really statistical, analytical, but I'm also very creative. And I believe that those two sides of me need to coexist in order for me to be the best version of myself.
Yep.
And so I fell into doing assistant work. I was like, I can do this with my eyes closed. I'm really good at it. So I got these temp gigs all over Wall Street, all over New York, and I was great at it. And then eventually the gigs started to dry up a little bit in acting. It wasn't really catching on. And the temp gig that I was at was like, do you want to stay full time? And I was like, no, I can't do that. And they were like, well, let me put a package together for you. And I sold my soul a little bit, and I got offered a job at a big Wall Street bank. And I was like, you'll give me the health insurance and the retirement package and the
Yeah.
whole thing. And I was just so seduced by it, like somebody who was like walking around New York, afraid that they would get hit by a bus and be bankrupt for the rest of their life. That was like
Wow.
just always hanging over. And I always felt very taken care of, but that was always there, It's always like, you are really just vulnerable. And so I took the job. And I loved the job for a while because it got me to feel rewarded for the work that I did and for who I was. And I felt like I wasn't getting that from the creative side of things for so long. Fast forward, I did that for like 6 years. I climbed the corporate ladder there. I was on my way to VP. I was doing really, really well. And I totally burnt out.
Yep.
And I was diagnosed clinically depressed. And right now, I mean, I don't know when this will air, but this is May right now. So it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I want to talk about this. I was diagnosed clinically depressed. And it was the greatest wake up call I could have asked for. Like, I looked at it as a gift. I looked at it then as a gift, and I look at it now as a gift.
Beautiful.
And it was my ticket out. It was the rock bottom that I needed to force me from leaving the cushy, comfortable, seemingly beautiful life of the six-figure salary, the big bonus, the high-rise building, to work in, the Louboutin shoes, and all of those things that the trappings of what everybody else says is important, and say, screw it, I'm going to do something else. And I left. I moved to LA to kind of figure out what the next move was for me. And I found entrepreneurship. And that was that. And that's where I am now. It morphed into me starting a software company, working with the people that were clients of that software company and helping them build their businesses. And that's where I am today. And that kind of started off with just like the technical aspects of business, but business is spiritual. And it was really, so my journey has really just turned into a way of my becoming and helping other people become this version of themselves that they know is trapped inside somewhere.
It's beautiful. And what was the term that you used to refer to yourself as something hippie?
A type A hippie.
Type A. Yeah, I call it a high functioning hippie because I'm
Yep.
totally a high functioning hippie, and being in alignment with what your spirit yearns for and what it calls for. No amount of money is gonna fill that void. No amount of money is gonna, it will lead to different things. And I don't know, I won't be the someone who tries to like diagnose or say like, what your depression might have been or what it was, but like a lot of people will, especially Wall Street bankers. I mean, I'm in the wealth management field, so I know that to a degree. I'm down in Atlanta, so I didn't live like the Wall Street life, but I understand it. And I know, especially like after '08, like there were people that were literally like killing themselves because of the market crisis. And in that industry, specifically in New York and Wall Street, there's a lot of like cutthroat. There's a lot of politics, if you will, nepotism. There's also like you know comparison. There's a ton of comparison up there,
Mhm.
and like we see movies all the time about like the decadence, and like obviously some of this is overblown, but some of it's true. And it's like if you're always comparing and if you're never satisfied and you're chasing money, it's going to leave you empty. It's going to leave you unfulfilled. So what was it that was for you kind of like the straw that said screw it, I'm leaving New York, I'm leaving this kind of quasi, past of like, trying to build something, but it wasn't really clicking. And like, he's like, screw it, I'm just going to LA. Like, what was the muse for all that?
I had always felt a calling to go to LA, and
Okay.
I had not listened to it. And I felt like one, so there were a few things. The straw, I guess, was just really me realizing how unhappy I was. And I look back on it now, and I look at depression, sort of at least my own experience with it and from other people that have experienced it that I talk to, it's your soul sick. Your soul is saying to you that where you are, what you're doing, the moment that you're in is not true and is not serving you. And you need to take a good long look. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's exterior, sometimes it's internal stuff. And for me, I knew, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me.